Well, good morning. I appreciate everyone coming this morning for our referendum meeting here at the high school. And as I begin, I'm reminded of our tradition of excellence and our Shorewood historical group that recently presented on the history of our school district. And they told a story of how the school district has evolved, how it evolved in the 1920s and 1930s as our community grew. In 1920, we had 2,000 residents, and in 1930, we had 16,000 residents. So we had a group of community leaders who talked of a vision. They saw the value of public education, and they debated and fought for the concept of public education for all ages. In the past 15 years, our ability to maintain and improve our property, which is assessed at $70 million, was limited when legislation was changed. In fact, the district budget for maintenance shifted $1.35 million from maintenance to the classroom over the past 6 years. Yes, funds have been available for major projects from our 2002 referendum and from our community services fund balance. However, preventative maintenance has not been completed on a regular basis due to this cut in our budget and the fact that we have less staff to provide those services. To protect our assets and continue to offer the academic and community programming valued by all ages in Shorewood, we must ask the community for additional funds through a maintenance referendum. Beginning this referendum process over a year ago, the school board hired Epstein Ewing to complete a thorough maintenance study to determine any and all maintenance needs in the school district. The study was shared with the school board in June of 2007, and our school board spent several meetings reviewing the information and asking questions and getting the detail that they need. The study identified $7.5 million of maintenance over the next 10 years that would need to be done. In addition, it identified capital projects in the area of technology needs, equipment needs, and playing field updates. Those were also identified as critical areas of concern for the school district. In total, $12.5 million, $12.75 million of facility and equipment needs were identified through this process. In October of 2007, I convened an advisory board who toured all the facilities and reviewed all pertinent information to advise and bring recommendations to the school board. This committee met 8 to 10 times throughout the fall to discuss this information and did develop a vision and a set of objectives for the referendum. We want to be very clear with the community what we're trying to achieve with this referendum. We'll be very communicate clearly to what we want to do. The objectives of this referendum are to maintain the buildings, grounds, and physical infrastructure of the school district by addressing maintenance needs, decrease the environmental impact of the district facilities and operations, ensure safety and security for all users of district facilities, renovate and equip district facilities to support academic achievement, renovate and equip district facilities to support community educational and recreational programming. In conjunction with administration, the advisory board identified $8.75 million of immediate needs. The committee felt that another $900,000 was important but did not have consensus to recommend it to the school board. However, they did prioritize those additional needs and then allowed the school board to debate the merit of the additional $900,000. In January, the school board received the advisory committee's recommendations and held 2 meetings where they debated the referendum recommendations, and then held a 3rd meeting where they finalized the resolutions for the referendum in April. They decided to ask the community for $9.65 million to maintain, equip, and renovate district facilities and ground. And again, one of the first questions that people ask is, what does that mean to me as a taxpayer? And we know that the average home in Shorewood is $336,000. That would be, we're increasing the property 29 cents per thousand, and for that average home, it's $97.44. Under $100 per year, less than $10 a month. And I'm going to outline what you're going to get for that money, because I think that's what people want to know. So, as we look at that $9.65 million, we've identified, as I mentioned, $7.5 million in maintenance. Right now, we've included in this referendum $5.54 million in maintenance needs across our school district in each of our schools. Again, these are things like electrical updates, heating and air conditioning, HVAC type of improvements, plumbing upgrades, fixtures, piping, making sure that we get hot water in the places where we need hot water. Safety and security issues have been something that's relatively new in the last 10 or so years, but we need to improve upon our safety and security. Window replacement and door replacement, as well as door hardware replacement throughout the district. All this being done and all of our maintenance work with an eye of being more environmentally friendly, making sure that we are not impacting the environment in a negative way. Also, we identified $1 million to improve our technology. A couple things. One, we want to improve the infrastructure of our technology. In the last 5 years, we have really worked to go more web-based with our applications, which has put some stress on our infrastructure. We want to make sure that it's designed to be most efficient. We also want to begin to improve what our classrooms are going to look like as we begin to teach our children with all this technology that's out there. So we need to design that so we engage our students in the technology and using that to enhance the already good educational programming that we offer. And then we want to replace some of our equipment that has become dated, and we want to get on a sustainable 4-year replacement cycle if we can. Yeah, the next item is our high school physical education building, which was last updated in the 1960s. We want to invest $1.98 million into that facility. We're mainly looking at trying to improve the space for our curriculum to be taught because the practices and the way that we teach physical education is changing. We also want to create better lines of sight and safety and security by doing some remodeling our locker room facilities and changing some locations of our offices. And we also want to decrease our energy consumption within that building. The next item is the area that you're in now is remodeling the high school library. We want to invest $350,000 into this facility. $100,000 of that is to update the technology that's in and used in our library. We have a couple of options that reasons we want to do this. One, we want to create more collaborative space. We know that kids work in groups today more than they did in the past, so we want to make sure we create some collaborative space, and I'll explain that to you when we have a look at the plans for that. But we also want to create some distance learning capabilities, some virtual field trip type things as well, and we would like to work with our village library to see if there's any way that we can share some services. I know our recreation department can offer classes in the new and updated computer lab that we would have here. So this facility could be open, at night a couple of times a week to do some classes and that type of thing. We don't want to build a mini-me library that we already have at the village, so we'd like to be able to combine and be able to share some services there. Also, our performing arts building recently was renovated. As you know, we had a major fire in that facility 2 or 3 years ago. But what was not replaced when we did that renovation was our lighting and our sound systems. And they are both about 25 years old, and they do need to be replaced. So we want to invest $330,000 into that. A couple things and a couple reasons for that. One, we have our own curriculum and our own drama department and musical orchestras and our bands and choirs. But also the Shorewood players use that facility 2 to 3 times a year. And that's a great community resource that we have here in Shorewood. Also, we'd like to rent that facility. We feel we have one of the most nice, beautiful performing arts buildings in the area. We feel that if we update our lighting and our sound, we would be able to rent that and create some revenue stream back into the district. The next part actually came from the Village Parks and Recreation study and audit that was completed this past year. They identified $636,000 of improvements in green space for our 2 elementary schools. What our committee looked at and focused on were the playing fields. We know that the irrigation and drainage for those fields are not good and really rendered some of that space unusable. We know that our Shorewood Little League and our Shorewood Kickers and other community groups depend upon that. And I know if you go by Lake Bluff on a Sunday afternoon, you see many people out using our playground, i.e. park. So we want to invest $300,000 to make sure that the playing fields are more usable and they have better drainage and irrigation. And finally, it's the next improvement would be purchasing equipment for our food services department. Right now, our central kitchen is located at the high school. We'd like to move our central kitchen to one of the 2 elementary schools. We're looking at which one would be best suited for that. We know that our food service does very well K-8. We have high participation in food services. However, at the high school level, our participation falls off. So we have to look at that from a budgetary standpoint to see what we want to do. That doesn't mean that we wouldn't serve here if our central kitchen moved to Atwater or to Lake Bluff. Regardless of that, we need to buy equipment and update our food services area.